So, do you guys know who?
Damn.
I mean, this is gonna be obvious, but do you guys know who Cain Velasquez is?
Nah.
Yep.
Okay, so I know you do.
Yeah. Big fan.
So who is he?
He's one of the greatest heavyweight UFC fighters ever. He's a huge dude, but dances around like a cat, and that's what he had.
Oh, that is the guy that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know this one.
Thanks, Joe. Great.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Yeah, let me let you do your job. Let me let you do your job.
No, he's been charged. He's been charged with attempted murder after. There was a shooting on Monday night in San Jose. This is just last Monday.
The crazy thing is him, Daniel Cormier, his coach, everyone from that camp from AK in San Jose, they're known to be stand-up dudes. So like when I first saw it on my Instagram feed, I'm like, what the fuck? Cain Velasquez shot someone? Like they're like, they're like good sports, you know, like they win, they lose, doesn't matter. Like everyone likes them, and so it just really caught me off guard to see.
Well, some might say that this is a stand-up thing to do.
Yeah.
In my world, it is, by the way.
Because when the story first came out, it just says Cain Velasquez arrested for attempted murder.
You're like, whoa, what the
And then the whole time I'm like,
Attempted.
and kind of like going back to what Bart said about Cain Velasquez, like he is like he's a really good example for the sport.
Everyone
like
likes
a really
him.
good guy, stand-up guy.
Yeah.
So when you heard that, you're like, something must have happened. He must have defended himself or whatever the case may be. But when you find out what the actual story was, it is kind of fucked up. It's very fucked up.
So he's being charged with 10 counts that he could carry more than 20 years of jail time.
20 to life, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy.
20 to life.
Attempted murder, shooting at an unoccupied motor vehicle or aircraft, 3 counts of assault with a firearm, 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, willful discharging a firearm from a vehicle, carrying a loaded firearm with intent to commit a felony.
That's like all those charges for one thing.
But it was also registered under his name.
When you hear the legal jargon, it sounds fucking crazy. But when you hear the story of, I believe his daughter used to go to this babysitter, and the babysitter's son, who's 40-something, has molested his daughter over 100 times.
His niece, I think.
Or niece?
Yeah.
Over 100?
No, and then his niece is only like 4 years old.
So that's like when you hear that, and then you kind of hear what actually happened. You're like, I can see how someone's like, if they
lost it,
they maybe drove down the street. Fuck that motherfucker! You get in the car, I'm chasing after you. I believe he rammed his truck into that.
They
guy's
have it on
truck.
video too. They have some
and then
clips of it on video.
And so like when he pulls out his gun, he's trying to blast them, and of course he misses. Then you are endangering innocent bystanders. You are shooting other people. There are a whole list of things, but when you're just thinking about the justice he's trying to serve, you're like, I kind of feel for what he was doing.
Yeah.
Hope he gets a good jury.
Yeah.
Hope he gets a jury that understands.
So what do you think will happen, like, when he goes to court? Do you think, is there any wiggle room for anything like that in this context?
It's so tough.
In San Jose, I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
He's probably going to see
know what
jail
I mean?
time
Like-
for sure, right?
Because you're going to argue, right, that this is a crime of passion.
Yeah.
Right? Because he finds out, like his niece says, hey, this guy, Eugene, takes me into a bathroom and he starts touching my genitals. And then he's being charged with that, right?
Over
Lewd and lascivious conduct towards the minor.
And he has priors, too. It's the same type of issue.
Over 100 times?
Yeah.
So
Crazy. It's fucked.
that the incident had occurred over 100 times, and that the kid said that he witnessed other kids go to the bathroom with the same guy.
God damn.
So yeah,
And it just so happened that she was running a daycare here and she had no idea that he was doing that?
Yeah, it's like a grandma running a daycare and the son comes in and out to help or whatever. But then the son is doing all kinds
but he's claiming that, you know, I didn't do anything. He's like, yeah, sometimes kids would have help. They needed help with their pants when they didn't have them on correctly. So he's saying that that's what he was doing. Yeah, it's weird.
Who knows?
That's fucking weird.
And then his mom, the mom of the accused molester, right, says that she doesn't buy it. So there's that environment, perhaps, right? Like,
Yeah.
She's like in denial.
in denial. She's running a daycare. This fucks with her business if it's true.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
All right.
Yeah.
And what sucks is this isn't a normal guy. This is a guy that's classified as one of the most dangerous dudes in the world because he's a heavyweight champion. So it's just so many like factors that kind of like dramatize the story even more when the story is already crazy.
So for the molester, he has priors of molestation already, but he's like, oh, but those were happening, but this time it's different. Is that what he's trying to say? Like,
Those were
Yeah,
real.
probably.
Those were the balls. This one's the pants.
right? Like, is he like, no, I was actually trying to fix this kid's pants. Oh yeah, before I was molesting people, but not this time. Like the fuck is he? Is this is fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Because joggers are really hard to work with now. It's a modern pant. Yeah.
know,
Yeah, it's
right?
The
hard.
old school trousers are way easier.
So difficult.
It's out of his generation. He doesn't understand this.
Yeah.
So they haven't. I haven't seen anything about if he died or not. I don't think the guy died.
He shot the stepfather in the arm, I think.
Oh.
Because were they like driving together?
So the
Is that what happened?
stepfather dipped with the accused molester.
That fool's
And
fun
apparently,
in my book, man.
Yeah, dude. And apparently, Cain was like chasing him, and there's like some video of that. And then Cain shot, I guess, the stepfather in the arm. He's fine. He was treated, all good, but the damage is done. He's probably gonna go to jail for a real long time, which is fucked, right? Like, it's so crazy to even think about.
You know what's weird is like if that happened to you, where your daughter was molested, it's almost like based on what society has taught us, like kids never recover from that.
Yeah.
Like there's always gonna be some kind of fucked up trauma. I feel like I would do the same shit because the least I could do is at least show that kid that at least I try to even it out somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then also at the same time, are you also hurting that kid's future by just not fucking being there? Because now you're in jail?
Yeah.
So that's what
So-
Dana White said. He says, I obviously feel sorry for him and his family. It's a horrible thing. I don't know enough details to speak on it, but from what I've heard, we all say we'd do it if it ever happened to us. Cain did it.
Yeah, that's fucking.
That's a gangster statement.
Isn't it?
That's a really great statement.
Part of me wishes, right? You hear this stuff and you're like, man, if you just were to like, obviously heat of the moment and so crazy, but if you just moved a little bit in silence, I bet you could have still got the job done.
I think if you can even picture yourself maybe doing it, hypothetically, if it actually happened and you had the tools and the time, you would 100% do it reflexively. Like by reflex, you would do it. Yeah. The only way you wouldn't is if you waited. I think most guys would just go for it.
You're not going to have the presence of mind to go like, okay, calm down, Steve. I need to go on the dark web.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, I wish though.
Iron
Right? Like,
assassin.
Unless you pre-planned it, where like that's the protocol in place for when that shit does happen.
Yeah, like,
Then-
what
but
was
then
the
that's
time?
like not a crime of passion at that point. That's like a
Premeditation.
meditated, yeah.
What? Yeah. How long did he know this for?
I don't know. I don't know how long.
I don't think there's any other details
Yeah,
out that
there's
way.
not many details about it, like Dana White said, but it's just all we have is the results of everything that's happened so far.
Also, what kind of signal does it send if, let's say, Cain, like his story is true, right? Because we also don't know, that's just his side. But let's say his story is true, he does get 20 years or life. Then the signal that it sends out to the world is if your kid does get molested, you're not allowed to do anything about it, and you just kind of have to trust that justice will serve itself.
Who does that?
Well,
So-
remember that Texas case where the dad, he killed the assailant that was molesting
His daughter.
but he caught them in the act. So he, in ways of preventing the crime, he actually got acquitted.
Because
It's
he was
also
preventing
Texas
the
too.
crime.
I don't think California will ever.
No way, they're never on the side of fucking.
No, they always are on the side of the perpetrator, and that's what's scary because like, so you got to look at it case by case. The way our justice system works, right, is like he's gonna be charged for the molestation case, right, and then Cain's gonna be charged on the attempted murder case separately. They don't see it as one connection. So depending on how much evidence they have on the molestation case and all these things, he might even get out way fucking earlier than Kay does. So when
Yeah, which is so crazy.
what that signals to the world is you can molest as many kids as you fucking want. You're gonna get a slap on the wrist. Well, if you try to avenge that, then you'll fucking go to jail forever. But I guess it's like trying to create an overall picture. If you try to zoom out, is trying to create a society that is not harmful in general to everyone, right? So like, if you want an eye for an eye situation, but if you're like shooting guns, like trying to catch your bad guy, you fucking hit a grandma or whatever, like that's also fucked up. So they're trying to also prevent like acts of passion, I guess, coming out of revenge.
So that means the poetic justice is whatever the crime that was committed that you have to exact revenge for, that's the limit to the crime that you can project. So if you're fighting molestation, you gotta molest the molester.
I think so.
I think so.
That way it can at least be.
How does that always happen in this room every time?
And there's more than one person agreeing.
well, we're talking about in
I'm just trying to bring the
Jamalia.
logic back into this, you know what I mean? Because
In
it's so
Jamalia.
illogical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's the best thing you can actually do is find a situation where you don't bother anybody else or risk anybody else. You don't have to damage any property
Paint the
or
picture.
whatever.
Give us the details.
Okay, so we'll have a squad, a justice squad.
Justice Squad, I
All
like
right.
it.
And they'll go out, and if they're proven guilty,
A militia, if you will.
maybe.
Or maybe
Let's
it's
call it a rescue squad.
Okay, I see. A rescue squad. A rescue squad militia.
or it could be
so like.
it could be an ice cream
Rescue
truck
militia.
with just the door open, and he's driving down the street. He goes, "Come here, Eduardo."
Because he's drawn to ice cream trucks. Huh?
And he has to go in.
And like, oh, hey, it's just us, the good guys militia.
You know, it's another
boys.
super sad aspect of this is that like, so we all know like one of the worst things about crimes against kids is that they fucking pay for it their whole lives.
Yeah.
And sometimes they end up redoing the same thing.
The same cycle.
Yeah.
It's just like they have such less hope. But then the even worse part is that because this is a high profile case, now there's no anonymity for this kid to go on in life. And like at least some kids, when it happens to them, no one needs to know and they can kind of deal with it how they want. Yeah. But it's like everyone's gonna fucking know now. Like that like historically this happened to you.
And I think because San Jose is, I think that's where it happened, right? And Cain Velasquez and that whole team, they're really embedded in the San Jose community too. So like everyone knows who they are.
Right.
Everyone knows where the gym is. But I would like to think that hopefully he has some connections with like, you know, the government, like the local government.
So you say the mob.
But to like Ryan's point, imagine it's like now that kid's got to grow up, and not only does everybody know about the case and all that stuff, but even in the worst case scenario, it's like, you know, he goes to jail for a long time. That's maybe that kid will feel like it's that kid's fault. You know what I mean? Or
And now it's bigger
But now
news.
it's out there. Like
It's
everyone
bigger,
knows what
yeah.
happened to you. Everyone.
I think the best thing that we can do is build basements all over in different cities for things like this, right? You grab the guy when justice isn't served by our justice system and it failed. You put him in the basement, you lock him up, and then you wait until your own kid is old enough to make the decisions of what they want to do to that person.
That's pretty baller.
That's a really good idea because it's like, you know, think about a child molester getting a house and being like, oh, this is handy. It has a basement.
It's locked, Steve. It's not open.
But all the houses have basements, Joe.
No, one.
Oh, one does. Okay, my.
For this purpose.
Okay, I got it.
The city basement.
The city basement.
I got the city basement.
Basement share.
That's what's hard is like you don't know if like even though in your mind of poetic justice that does seem like fucking sweet, you just kill the guy that raped your kid, but like in the long run and the long-term effects, is that what that kid would have wanted? Like you have no clue how that if it's turning out for the best.
And also in a state of like rage and passion, if he was just shooting a firearm out of the car into wide open street, like who knows who else he could have potentially hit too, you know?
That street, to be fair, looked pretty empty.
and he could have like accidentally shot another like molester or something like that, since California's so pro molester, you know.
That's true.
Dude, is California
California is fucking pro.
Go on the map,
kinda is, bro.
If you go on the map, isn't it fucking red dots all over the place? Dude, it's pretty.
It's for, we did the fucking whole search.
Look, we did the sex offender search. Looked at this area.
What the fuck?
That shit looked like fucking Verizon coverage zones. I can tell you those are good.
The coverage is unbeatable.
5G everywhere.
Fios.
Unbeatable.
It looks like someone that lost on battleships.
Little tiny side story, super short. My I dated this girl who was molested by her uncle when she was a kid, and then her parents never did shit about it. When she was like 18,
Did they yell at her about it?
yeah, they did. They actually did. They actually were
Like,
mad.
no, that never happened.
Yeah, they were mad at her for
Yikes.
accusing him. She turned 18. She got her hands on a gun, and she decided she wanted to go find her uncle and kill him. And then it was like her dad's friend, and her dad had long passed away, so she didn't really know what happened to this friend. You know when you grow up, there's that uncle that you just call him uncle, but it's just like your dad's friend. So she finally finds him, goes to his house, and finds out that he's also passed away. And then she called me and was like, I just would have made the biggest mistake of my life.
Holy fuck.
But yeah, the dude was already dead. But she went to fucking actually kill him.
Insane.
Dude, you have the craziest stories.
Bro, I grew up in the fucking late 90s.
Hey, T-Mobile, huh? T-Mobile. Great coverage.